For my play, I studied A School for Scandal by Richard Brinsley Sheridan, written in 1755. Because the play was written in the 18th century, it's important to think about what the audience in the 18th century would have expected. The 18th century audience would have expected to be entertained, meaning they wanted to be intellectually stimulated and they wanted to see comic timing and see humor and witty dialogue. They wanted to be enlightened. They wanted to know truths and morals. They wanted all of that to be a part of their experience in going to a play. And most importantly, they didn't want to be exhausted. They wanted the play to be easy to follow. This was not the audience that would have appreciated philosophical musings or long soliloquies. So Sheridan uses character names to meet all of these expectations. First, he uses conclusively named characters. These characters, their names mean exactly what their personality and actions are in the play. He also uses contradictorily named characters. These characters, their names do not align with their personalities or their actions, or both. And lastly, he uses comparatively named characters. These characters have the same name. In our case, in The School for Scandal, we have brothers with the same last name of Surface. And he uses this similarity to highlight the differences between the characters. So first, he has conclusively named characters. The first conclusively named character is Lady Sneerwell. She talks bad about other people, she doesn't have a pleasant name, so the audience would expect her to not be pleasant. And she's not. In fact, she says that she finds no pleasure equal to reducing others. So this makes sense that her name would be Lady Sneerwell. The next character is Sir Benjamin Backbite. Backbite only talks bad about people when they're not there to defend themselves. He writes poems that mock certain people that he's close with, that he would even consider his friends. And when told to print these poems publicly in the paper, he refuses to do so and says that he enjoys just circulating them around the people who know them so that the person who he's mocking will never know that he's mocking them. So it makes sense that a backbiter would be named Benjamin Backbite. And lastly, we have the character Careless. Careless in the play is the protagonist, Charles Surface, his best friend. And when the audience first sees Careless, he's tipsy, he's drunk. And this makes sense that the character named Careless would care less to even be sober for his friend. And while Charles is going through a difficult time, he's drunk and making jokes about it. So these characters, their name matches how they act and their personalities. The next characters are not quite so. We have Mrs. Candor. She is a contradictorily named character because with a name like Candor, you would expect her to be candid, but she's not. In fact, she's known as a deceitful liar, and our antagonist Joseph says he's most worried about his friends when Mrs. Candor comes to their defense. Her name defies her personality and her actions, so she's a contradictorily named character. The next is Snake. Now, Snake is expected to be conniving and dishonest, and he is, which is no surprise. But what is a surprise and why he's a contradictorily named character is that his actions do not align with his name. He does the right thing in the end of the play. Now, he does it for the wrong reasons, but the fact that his honesty is what brings our protagonist to justice, it should shock the audience because his name is Snake. He shouldn't be honest at all. And our last group of characters are the contrastingly named characters. We have Joseph Surface, our antagonist, and Charles Surface, our protagonist. Now these characters, both of their last name is Surface. And the name of Surface is important because it indicates that they have something on the surface that is not true to what lies beneath the surface. So for our antagonist, Joseph, on the surface, he's seen as an honest, honorable, and generous man. But throughout the play, he's slowly revealed to be a dishonest and inappropriate and selfish character. So his surface does not match his reality, which is the theme that Sheridan slowly shows throughout the play. The theme is that reality is more important than appearances. Our protagonist, Charles, has a similar situation. On the surface, he is seen as foolish and wasteful and selfish. In fact, throughout the play, he's called prodigious, meaning, which calls to my mind like the prodigal son. But in reality, he's seen to be wise and honest and generous. So both of these characters on the surface are something that they are not in reality. And we have our antagonist and our protagonist juxtaposed by their names. So Sheridan uses character names to entertain the audience, enlighten them on the truth of reputation, but he doesn't exhaust them with deep, meaningless philosophical musings. Sheridan proves this famous quote that a good name in man and woman is the immediate joy of their souls. So Sheridan agrees with probably the most famous and well-known playwright of all time, William Shakespeare, that your name, it matters, even in literature.